in 2002, we're on the Missionary Ridge Fire. As I already talked about the Missionary Ridge Fire, and we're talking, it is in briefing in the mornings. We have our main briefing in the morning. It's the only time I've ever seen them do a demonstration of how dry the fuel was. So the guy gets up there, I think it was the ops chief, he gets up there with this log that's like definitely 1,000-hour fuel. He gets it out there, he sets it on the desk there at the table on stage in front of all these hundreds and hundreds of firefighters, and he takes a little, like drippy, basty thing, and he drips the water on it, like 1 or 2 drops. He goes, "That's how dry the fuel is out there." I mean, literally, we're like, okay, so, it's dry. So under those conditions, we were getting firestorms and as well as plume-dominated fire behavior by 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, which was unheard of, except for the most extreme cases. So, and it was right there outside of town. So everybody in town can see this ginormous fire column every day. So everybody's freaked out and terrified, except for one resident of Durango, evidently, who evidently bought some livestock and didn't want to go out and buy a new electric fence. So he borrowed one, and it was called a weed burner. They don't use them, and they're not allowed to be used, especially in a year where it's like very, very low fuel moisture. And so along the main way you come into Durango, you come off the main highway there, and you have to drive down the valley. The Missionary Ridge Fire. So the Missionary Ridge Fire, if you're going into Durango, is on this side, and Purgatory Ski Area is on this side. And so everyone who drives down the freeway can see the ginormous Missionary Ridge Fire and all the helicopters and all the air tankers fighting this fire, along with this resident who happens to live right there on this, on the highway. So he installs his weed burner, and not exactly the best installation, because a tourist is driving by, and they stop to take pictures of the Missionary Ridge Fire, and they turn around, and the grass is on fire. And so they decide to take some pictures of that. Instead of actually calling it in, they get back in their rig and they drive down keep driving. A few days later, after that fire, which was then called the Valley Fire, had burned up the mayor's house and other houses, down to the chimneys and down to the foundations, which was just really, really bad. I mean, we did everything we could possibly do, but it was so dry. I mean, you could only move so fast. And they just threw everything they had at it, and it was still, it was crazy. A few days later, they're trying to figure out what started this fire, because it was also near July 4th, so they weren't sure if it was like fireworks or what, because of course they had taken down what started the fire. Kind of put that away. And it wasn't until a little bit later then someone saw the pictures and thought, probably we should let someone know that this is what we saw, So they turned them in, and then that's how they figured out what had happened. But what was interesting is that Valley Fire, the community that it burned into, only a couple of weeks before, so one of the residents who lived there, his family member worked for the local forest district, and the local guy noticed that the undergrowth around the house, their home, was really thick and overgrown and just really a fire danger. So he had offered to clean it up, clear it out, and haul it away as a family friend. And so he did. Well, the problem is that whole area, that community, was run by like a homeowners association type of thing. And some of the neighbors had, questioned the beautification of that move. And so that association evidently had issued a letter just like a week or two before that said if anyone wanted to do something like that, they needed to get the approval or they needed to cease and desist kind of thing. So it ended up, sadly, that that a lot of those people who probably needed to clear that area out, and the stuff around their house and stuff, were not able to do what they needed to do to make their homes fire safe. And it ended up being a really sad situation, because it was preventable. A lot of those homes that burned, it was preventable if people had just taken some basic, cleaning, making their homes fire safe. That 30-foot around their house, the 150-foot riparian zone, which you can make beautiful, but a lot of them were unable to do that, and because of the hindrance of what they had gotten as that letter. The house where he cleared it, he was good. It was all taken care of. It was great. And then the hard work of all the firefighters who went and did that, they stopped that fire a lot sooner than the conditions would have indicated that they would have been able to. But it was just the amazing teamwork the team that was there just threw what they needed at that fire. They rerouted helicopters, they rerouted engines and crews, and everybody was, because we were just right there, they moved. The speed at which everyone moved to get that contained was just amazing. And a lot of those guys worked all night, all day, and then worked all night on that fire, and part of the next day before they were even relieved. So they were really getting their booties kicked, but they got it taken care of. It was just amazing to watch the teamwork. So yeah, and then the community there, they gave us cookies. This lady, I remember this one lady in this one house, she made us these cookies that you could only eat like 2 bites of them because they were so incredibly packed with just amazing stuff. She would put like nuts and chocolate and caramel and just they were just like the sweetest, most incredible cookies you've ever eaten. But you literally could only eat like a bite or two, and you save the rest and a little bit at a time. Oh man, everybody loved those cookies. That was really fun.